The weird world of gaming keeps on turning, and gameranx every month finds the weirdest stuff, points at it, and I guess laughs. That's pretty much all we can do, right? I'm Folks, it's Falcon. Today on gameranx, 10 weird gaming stories from March 2024. Starting off with number 10, a major Apex Legends competition got hacked, and everybody involved was extremely confused as to why suddenly they all had aimbots and other hacks in the middle of a major competition. So the Apex Legends Global Series was in the middle of its regional finals. A couple of players got hacked mid-match, and it delayed the entire proceeding. Jen Burton and Imperial Hal are the two that specifically got hacked, ended up with aimbots. There's clips of Jen Burton playing. He immediately says, "I'm getting hacked, I can see everybody," and he exits out of the match. And apparently there is an exploit that is being abused in Apex Legends that may actually be using the anti-cheat software to hack people. The tournament advised that people change Discord passwords, ensure emails are secure, even perform a clean OS reinstall. Like, obviously it's a really serious possible situation, and they warn players that their PC may have been exposed to a rootkit. Like, they're saying don't take any chances. It's a big crazy thing that happened. They're just playing a game and suddenly they can see everybody on the map. At number 9, Nintendo has claimed that thanks to the Yuzu emulator, Tears of the Kingdom was pirated 1 million times. And in response, they sicked their sharks with frickin' laser beams attached to their heads. And by that, I mean lawyers on the developers of Yuzu. Nintendo claims that it has caused manifest and irreparable damage to Nintendo, which is BS. Like, I'm sorry, no. Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom is the fastest selling title the Nintendo Switch has ever had. Breath of the Wild, which came out in 2017, has sold 30 million copies. Tears of the Kingdom has sold well over 20 million copies in less than a year. Those are incredible numbers, and the idea that it has caused irreparable damage to Nintendo, that people are able to play it on their PC, is total BS. At number 8, hundreds of Factorio players collaborated to create what they're calling a God Factory, which produces 1 million science per minute, which is impressive to say the least. It's called the Eternity Cluster. There's over 400 people involved in it, and wow, it's possible thanks to this mod called Clusterio, which is a Factorio mod that, according to its GitHub, allows you to split up your world to get around single core performance, as well as allow mods to connect to the internet. Basically, the way the game is put together probably wouldn't work if you were building something at the scale that these people are building. I mean, it's absolutely nuts to look at. And you can verify all of it too. The amount of work that goes into something like this is crazy, honestly. So, the Helldivers folks have been on a tear. We'll get to another of their stories soon, but probably the weirdest aspect of Helldivers 2 is that it is a games as a service game. It's good, and people like it. And this is kind of an explanation of why, to be fair. Although it's weird any CEO would ever say this. Basically, he said the only reason they would ever add large microtransactions is to fund his Warhammer habit, which I'm guessing we're not really too in danger of that, per se, because the game is doing gangbusters. It's really, really doing well. And again, it's because people like it, and it's a games as a service game, and that's weird. The weird thing is basically that in being good and against type in such a way, they've kind of earned the right to joke like this. So, yeah. At number 6, and this one kind of sucks, Marcus Leto, the co-creator of Halo, who joined up with EA back in 2021 to found Ridgeline Games in order to make a new Battlefield game that had a more narrative bent to it, according to everything we've heard about it up until now. It sucks, but for whatever reason, EA decided, before that comes out and before anybody has any idea what that is, we're just gonna lay off Ridgeline Games entirely. You know, EA has that tendency to buy developers, run them into the ground, and close them. They did that with a developer that they created before they even came out with the game. It sucks. Marcus Leto obviously not happy about it either. He said he doesn't have a lot to say because there's not a lot positive to say. And it's definitely one of those, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all situations. I get it, but come on, EA. More of this. You're still doing this. You're not even Embracer. You didn't fail to secure a bunch of money from the Saudis. You're just EA. You should have more than enough money to fund the Battlefield game that you decided you wanted at some point. Jesus. At number 5, Warner Brothers decided it wanted to veer away from the volatile AAA console games market, and it's time to lean into free-to-play and mobile, because never mind that all of their games business up until this point was that volatile AAA console business that did really well, like the Harry Potter game that came out last year and was one of their best-selling games, period. 22 million copies sold, best-selling game of the year, over Tears of the Kingdom. Never mind that, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League was a disappointment, so, that's it. Packing it up. We're done. Moving into whale territory. Oh, that sounds really weirdly familiar to something I said recently in one of our videos about how when they start throwing the games as a service stuff in there, the whole point is whales and mobile, and that's exactly where they're going. Weird. It's almost like they designed this as a transition game and are now using public sentiment to justify their move into that sector. God, it's just idiotic. I hate this kind of industry crap. Whether it's a big failure and they're overcorrecting, or it's an intentional move that they're framing a certain way so that they get less scrutiny over. I don't really know or care. I just know that games as a service sucks. Free-to-play is gonna suck because, let's just be clear, when you move your company in games as a service direction and then you go, we're not gonna do AAA, we're doing free-to-play from now on, that's what it's gonna be. It's gonna be the worst kind of free-to-play. There's no reason to assume that Warner Brothers is gonna buck the trend of bad free-to-plays after putting out Suicide Squad, which they made us pay to basically play the same old song and dance that you get from free-to-play. Anything that was good about that game was overshadowed by the bad games as a service crap. It's a sorry state. I guess that's the best I have to say about it. At number 4, Helldivers is introducing new content and doing it in the weirdest possible way. They're denying it exists. Now, obviously, they're playing a game here. They're of course adding new enemies to the game. That's how it works. It's a joke. It's silly, but it's also not normal. Players have been citing this new thing called a shrieker, which they're basically saying are a pack-based flying bug. And the CEO of the developer, Arrowhead, tweeted, "I've heard rumors of flying bugs in Helldivers 2. I want to officially refute such preposterous claims. Everyone knows bugs can't fly, and I'm not alone in thinking this. The Ministry of Truth agrees that this is propaganda from bug sympathizers that want to brainwash good people." Now, there's bugs that are flying in the game. That's how it works. But it's impressive, the commitment to the bit this guy is showing. Helldivers 2 has really just done everything right, in my opinion. And that is sadly a weird thing for a games as a service game, which I just got done saying generally sucks. Like, it's proof that they can be good. At number 3, Tim Sweeney, the boss of Epic, apparently emailed Gabe Newell to call Valve, and I quote, "assholes" over Steam fees. This was revealed as part of a lawsuit where Wolfire Games alleges that Valve has some kind of monopolistic control over game prices. I'm not going to weigh in on that because I don't really know one way or the other. But Tim Sweeney, he just said that the 30% Steam fee that developers have to pay is no longer justifiable. It's seemingly because their company charges less. But I'm also going to argue that the Epic Games Store, if the developer platform fees was the thing that was holding people back, I think we would have seen a big difference in how the market has played out. That's just an observation, though. I don't really have a preference for one over the other. They're both big companies that don't give a crap what I do. I don't know, the whole thing reads kind of unhinged, actually. These guys are all actually fighting with Apple, and I think rightfully so. Apple really does maintain a very, even in their own character miniaturization, walled garden approach, and that's gotten them in a lot of trouble, and all these companies have a big problem with each other. I don't know. I don't think that Gabe Newell is really the right target, and this is all like 5 years ago, and nothing's different now, so they're probably all still mad at each other in some weird way. At number 2, Toyota built a life-size Miraidon Pokemon, and they let people ride it around. It sounds and looks really cool until you look at it a little bit longer. You notice that big old black rectangle under it? Yeah, that's how it actually rides around. You see this picture like, oh, they built a life-size, oh, it even transforms into the motor. Oh, that's pretty cool, that's pretty cool. But, yeah, the wheels are in the box. It's just a big, like, sculpture that you can ride around. Like, imagine if you mounted a T-Rex fossilized skeleton on, like, a rectangular box that was hiding wheels, and you rode that around. It'd be the same thing. Arguably a much bigger waste of historically relevant materials, but it wouldn't be a lot different in terms of mechanics. Obviously, this is just silly. It's funny that they bothered doing it. Like, why? Like, they put a big Toyota Engineering Society logo on it. Like, oh, wow. What a feat of engineering. You mounted a statue on a moving platform. And finally, at number 1, did you know that there was a Will Smith-fronted zombie survival video game called Undawn? Yeah, I didn't. I legitimately didn't even know about it. And apparently neither did anybody else. Because although Will Smith was involved in the project and it had a budget of $140 million with 300 developers dedicated to making it, they brought in, over the course of their launch month, $287,000. That is not even a third of $1 million. Reuters, who reported on the loss, said that the game flopped spectacularly, and I think that that is the right words to use. Having Will Smith, an Oscar-winning actor, in the game in a kind of Johnny Silverhand-ish type role where he guides and helps navigate in a most likely significantly less compelling way than Johnny Silverhand. Not Will Smith's fault, probably the fault of whoever was in charge of this thing. I don't know. Everything about this looks bad, but like I literally didn't even know about it. It's that big of a flop. And that's all for today. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you think. If you liked this video, click like. If you're not subscribed, now's a great time to do so. We upload brand new videos every day of the week. Best way to see them first is, of course, a subscription, so click subscribe. Don't forget to enable notifications, and as always, we thank you very much for watching this video. I'm Falcon. You can follow me on Twitter @FalconTheHero. We'll see you next time, right here on GameRanx.